All right, this is hopefully going to be the 5.3 liter aluminum block and crank that I use in Ron Burgundy. It's came out of a customer car. I was in a Fox Body Mustang. That my friend Tom owns. Still. And this block, this stock bottom end has been 823 in the quarter mile, I think 531 to the 8th at 139 miles an hour. So it's been put through its paces. The rods are all swan neck. None of the pistons. I think only this cylinder came up to TDC for me when I was rolling the motor over. So it's a good candidate, I think, for rods and pistons now. There's a little bit of cylinder wall surface rust here. I gotta see if I can clean that up and check for cracks and you know, just go over it. So I'm gonna tear the rods and pistons out and the crank out and take a look at everything. Tom actually gave me this motor, you guys, out of his Fox, and I can't remember exactly why or what the reason was that he did that, but I think it was something about how I tuned it for, you know, a year and a half for him, and we got so far with the car and it stayed alive. So he just, when he bought his Dart 427, he told me I could have this. It has a stage 4 BTR turbo cam in it, the melling pump, and it had ARP head studs on it, so I'll be able to reuse that stuff, which is cool. I'm still not sure if I'll end up using that stage 4 cam because it's pretty big, but I mean, he had good luck with it with an 88 millimeter turbo, and that's what I bought. So I guess I'll just have to figure out what intake manifold I go with, kind of narrow that down. But so my mistake, this isn't a melling pump, it's just an OEM replacement. It looks like pretty new. Hopefully this cam's good. Looks good. Looks awesome. I gotta find a place to lay that down, or make a place. Whoop. Well, that thing's ready for action. BTR, oh, stage 3 turbo. Ha! No shit. Tom will probably be surprised about that. Just like I am. That is interesting. Okay, well, stage 3 cam, didn't even know that. I mean, I'm kind of excited about that because I didn't think I had enough anything for a stage 4, and I'm not about going too big and having something be inefficient, so that's exciting. I had a stage 2 here for this build actually, but I sold it and put it in that L33 I was showing you guys in the first episode of JackTuned Gbody. So I'm gonna get this rear cover off and get the mains out. Actually, I'll do the rods and pistons first. I got these 4 ball honed, and I'm doing this bank now. And then I think I'm just gonna take it off the stand and throw it in the parts cleaner over there and give it a bath after I do this. Actually, I'll wire wheel the deck surface too, and then I'll do that.
Ready? Where do I put them?
You can just leave them in this piece.
I don't need a lot. You're gonna hold it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oops.
Okay, thanks.
You're really, really, really strong.
It's aluminum, honey.
Why you don't work out? That looks like it was going to tip right over. I bet my hair is awesome right now. Oh, that's not too bad. Alright, so I got the block all cleaned up, and I had to ball hone that thing again because it was there was still some little surface rust stuff there, and I kind of did it quick before first time around. So, and then I ended up thinking maybe if I run the ball hone in reverse for like 15 seconds a hole, if that would, you know, give it a little bit more
abrasion to clean up, and it worked really good. So I got my big Milwaukee light here. I'll show you guys how it came out. I don't know if the GoPro will focus very good on this, but I'm happy with it. I was a little worried at first, but it looks really good now. The crank, I guess I'm gonna drop it off and see if they can, I don't know if they can check it for straightness or whatever, but if it's all good, I'll have a micro polish it and balance the rotating assembly. All right. It's like 55 degrees outside. I've got the doors open today. And I just fired the Summit Racing oil pan and the LSX Innovation motor plates with the energy suspension mounts on the mock-up motor. And I'm going to drop this thing in and kind of see where the mounts need to go. I've got to build some 2.5 inch square tube mounts on the factory frame. So it's not like I can kind of set it in. I'll have to ratchet strap the trans to the right height and stuff before I don't have a cross member for that made up yet, but we're about to figure all that out, hopefully. Little fast forward here, you guys. It took me a while to get this thing where it needed to be. So I was aiming for like a 12 to 12.5 inch crank centerline height, and to get there I would have to cut up the cross member even more where the mounts are hitting. Like, I couldn't physically get it low enough unless I took length out of this mount. So I'm not going to do that. A little bit higher is okay. I'll just have to deal with it on like really well prepped stuff, you know, with launch retard or something like that. So as it is right now, I believe, let's check with the tape, I've got 3 degrees of down, degrees down at the end of the, you know, the tail shaft and the trans, and I'm centered right now as far as factory Gbodies. They're 1/2 inch offset towards the passenger side, and I just had my laser on there. It just turned on because it's been on so long, but she's in there straight. So let me check the crank center line height just so I can give you guys a number, and then I'm going to tack the mounts in with the TIG, because there's so little room for me to use a welder. Like if I was to MIG weld it, I would have to grind the MIG weld down. So I'm going to tack it with the TIG and then take the engine back out and then weld it inside and out with the TIG so the welds are really small. So at ride height, well, what I think is going to be ride height, let's see what this is. It's about 13 5/8. Well, 13.5 for the crank center line height. So I know some no-prec guys run like 14, just so that it puts more weight on the rear tire. And then really well-prepped tracks, you know, guys are trying to get down under 12, you know, between whatever 10.5 and 12. But if I did that, I would have 3 inches of pan clearance too. So right now I have 4 5/8 of an inch to the bottom of the pan and the floor. So that's pretty, I mean, that's decent. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm just going to tack them in and
You know, the other thing I can do too to correct crank center line is just when I get my coilovers, I can go up and down with those. So it'll just be one of those things where right now it's at 13, whatever. So, you know, I can go up and down a half an inch pretty easily with coilovers. I just have to watch that oil pan clearance. But I'll bump stop this thing so that the pan won't hit anyways, I hope. If it comes down from a wheelie or something. Alright, I'll be right back. I'm going to tack those in. Okay, I'm working on the trans cross member, and I had to cut it at an angle for the two plates so it's, you know, I can remove this piece. There's two flanges that bolt together. This has to be shortened, and I gotta do this piece over here too. But I just wanted to show you before I tack it all. Got my little magnets holding it. So I'm gonna tack this piece and then put the flanges in there bolted together and tack this side, and then I gotta measure the length that I need for this piece because I'm gonna have to cut it down. It's too long. Got the cross member tacked in there. Works perfect. I gave myself 5 degrees of downward tilt on the output shaft, so that if I need to, I can always shim it up. You know, if I had made that too high, I'd never be able to go lower unless I shaved the mount somehow or something. So gave it a little extra for the first time around. And I threw some heads on the mock-up motor, and I just so happened to have a Holley high ram here from a customer build that I have apart right now, so I threw it on there just to see what it looked like. You guys will probably love it, right? I mean, I love it. That's not the intake that I'm going to go with. I think I'm going to go with a Edelbrock Pro Flow on this build. But that's always up for, you know, I could change my mind or whatever between now and when I buy something. But cool, I'm going to round out the night here. I'm going to clean up a little bit, and then tomorrow I'm going to put the steering column in and figure out where my seat needs to go, and then I can put the main hoop in and start on the cage. Pretty sharp looking.